Oh, hello YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I am going over my least favorite books from 2020. You know what? I'm just gonna be honest here, and I feel very discombobulated. I don't know what to do with my body or my mind. I'm just feeling weird. I just started the dishwasher, that's running. I was like, and okay, film, and so you might hear weird water sounds, but I don't know, discombobulated. Come get on the struggle bus with me. Yay! But regardless of my discombobulation, I also read a lot of books in 2020, obviously. Not all of them were winners. And I don't want to say these are the worst books of 2020, because bad is like kind of subjective. What I didn't like, someone else might like, so I wouldn't say these are necessarily bad books. I'm just saying they were my least favorite ones I read. So yeah, that's as diplomatic as I could be about the video, because I'm just gonna say bad things about these books for like 30 minutes, but whatever. Let's go! You know what, I'm just gonna rip the band-aid and get this one out of the way, which is One Dance with the Duke by Tessa. I know, what? Tessa on your least favorite list? Gasp! However, this one's bad. Those early Tessa they're not good. That's the best way I can describe them. They're not good books. Basically, my main problem with this book is that the male lead is kind of a garbage human. And like, that's a common complaint I've had with like a lot of historical romances. Like, authors are writing for a modern audience. They're not Jane Austen writing for Jane Austen's audience, you know, where things were different and people thought differently. They're writing for a modern audience, so therefore, guys treating me nicely would be a big win. So I want to read that, even if, you know, in this time period, maybe guys were dicks. I mean, sometimes they still are, but, you know, like, rewrite it, okay? I'm not reading this for historical accuracy. I'm reading it because it's gonna be pretty dresses and smutty sex with a duke. Like, that's all I want. And oh man, Spencer's a garbage human. Like, Amelia, our female lead, she starts off real feisty, and I like her, and then progressively through the book, she just gets less and less feisty. And I think that one of the key reasons is because she's with Spencer. She's married to Spencer, and Spencer just treats her like crap for the whole book. And she just keeps coming back because he's so hot. Like, every time he starts being mean to her, like, her rationale is, but he's handsome. And it's like, girl, no dick is that good. Just gonna say it, okay? No dick is that good. Just go the other way. You'll find another one. I can't with it. I was just baffled on their relationship. It's just bad. It's a bad relationship. I didn't root for them. I didn't like it. I struggle bust through this book, okay? Bandages off, we can move on. I also put Imagine Me by Tahereh Mafi on this list. This is the finale of the Shatter Me series, and I was real excited for it, because the thing with the Shatter Me series is you either love it or you hate it, because the writing style is very particular. It's very flowery and visual, like, written on the page. It's very, it's its own thing, okay? And I like it. I like the writing style. I don't care it's flowery. I don't care it's like overly dramatic, whatever. I'm in love with it. I'm just having fun for campy adventures, you know? The previous release to this book, Defy Me, I thought was really good. I had so much fun reading it. I like read the whole thing in one day. I couldn't put it down. I had so much fun. And then I was like, all right, they're on a roll. Let's go, Imagine Me. And it just was, nothing happened. And it was like, so little happened that it was literally the same plot of the previous book, but worse. Like, the same things happened in it, almost exactly the same, again, but not good. So it's just like, you did it again and you couldn't even do it better? What? Oh, man. So, like, it was just unoriginal, and the ending was stupid, and it made no sense, and I was like, really? Really? This is book 6. Like, I've been in it for a while, and that's how they did me. Okay, whatever. So, you know, I'm a little up and down with the series. It's not for everyone. I've been enjoying it for, you know, campy delights for many years now. But this one is just not a satisfying conclusion. It's not even, the plot isn't even original. It's the same plot as the previous book, but bad. I can't with it. Sadly, I had to put Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson on this list. This was one of my really anticipated reads for 2020. I was super excited about it, and I really kept giving this book a lot of chances, and it just never really rose to the occasion. Basic idea here is that there's this knitting store, and this woman runs it and she passes away, so now her adopted son and this girl that she kind of raised alongside this guy have to make the shop profitable to keep it because it's important. Hi, Batman. I got distracted in my own review because my dog came to me. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, so they have to make this yarn shop work because it's not working, and they want to keep it so I don't know, it stays in the family, what have you. And this is another romance where I don't buy the relationship between the couple. Basically, their whole relationship is based on, well, I think they're attractive and they're nice and stuff. That's the basis of their relationship. It's well, they're nice and I like to look at them. There we go. It's not a strong base, is all I'm saying. I mean, there were some good ideas here, and I don't think the writing was particularly bad. I just think the plot was bad. You know what I mean? I feel the editor did this author dirty and didn't pick up on these things and go, hey, maybe you should address some of these issues because it doesn't work. No one did this for the author, and I feel bad for them. Because, oh man, I really haven't seen very many good reviews of it. And it's unfortunate because it has so much promise to be delightful. And I just think the right people weren't reading it to figure out what was wrong with it before it went to print. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I tried. I mean, it had its moments sometimes, but it just wasn't a very convincing romance. I didn't buy the romance here, so that's the biggest thing that stops me from liking it. Speaking of romances I don't like, Docile by K.M. Sarza fucked me up. I thought this was going to be completely different than what it was. It's basically, it's sci-fi, kind of speculative fiction, it's like a horror story based around capitalism. There you go. And in the future, you can basically sell yourself as a servant to pay off debt because the world is just littered with debt. It's gone crazy. Capitalism, blah. And I thought it was going to be that, and maybe there's a relationship that forms here. I mean, it already starts problematic, but that's the point of the book, for it to be problematic. That this young man named Elisha, he sells himself as a docile, which is an indentured servant type of thing, to this guy Alex. And there could have been a romance there. I mean, already Alex owns this guy, so consent is already a problem, which is one of the main caveats of the book. Because he has no ability to ever say no, so is that the same as consent? Because he signed away his consent, but it's no, it's not. No. I'm what are you trying to make me question what consent is? Because you're not going to. It's very clear. I don't know. And it just got gross from there because it just quickly devolved into slave fic. Quickly, and I was oh no, it just kept going downhill. And I don't think this book is necessarily written for romance readers. I think it's written for sci-fi readers, so they might not know the term slave fic, but romance readers know those exist and they are problematic. And I was oh no, did no one tell this person? Oh no. And I get what the book is doing, don't get me wrong, I get it. I get the idea here. It's supposed to be a really fucked up story on purpose because it's a fucked up world. And, maybe I could have got behind that if I felt the story had a meaning and it resolved itself in, a satisfying way, but it didn't even do that. Okay, sorry, spoiler, I'm just gonna say it. You have this really messed up relationship, Elijah and Alex. They form a relationship with each other, and Elisha's a slave. He has no ability to say no. He basically, his mind just breaks. It's like Stockholm syndrome, And then Alex like was like, I can't keep doing this to you because I actually do like you as a human. I see you as a human, so I can't do this to you anymore. That's the basis of their love story. And, okay. So basically, you just see Elisha just be degraded for the whole, I DNF'd this, honestly. I read like 70% and then like skimmed. But he was just being like completely degraded through this whole book. And then I get to the ending, I'm like, okay, maybe it ends good. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? Like, it doesn't end with like any type of penance or anything like that, because it kind of ends on this hopeful note that, hey, maybe Elisha and Alex are gonna make a go of it because, you know, Elisha stopped being a slave, so it's okay now. And it's like, it's not fucking okay ever. So I was just like grossed out. And I didn't like it, okay? I get it. I know what it's trying to do. I'm not stupid. I get it. But, like, I don't like it because it's gross and I don't like it. Oh, there you go. I just don't. Also on this list is Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo. This is another one I was super anticipating. I was really excited. I got, like, the arc from the publisher. I was so excited. And I started reading it and I was like, oh no. Like, it's one of those books you open and you start reading chapter 1 and you immediately go, oh, okay, so this is bad. And the main problem I had with the narrative was that it was telling, not showing all the time. It was just so specific to everything that was happening. It was very specifically being spoon-fed to me that there was no nuance to these characters. They're supposed to be dark and kind of like, you know, interesting and fascinating. They're supposed to be morally gray. But it's like, you can't be morally gray if everything is being spelled out to me about your person. Like, there's no room for me to develop other opinions. The character should be just doing other things and you would still understand how that character feels. I don't need to be spoon-fed the character's emotions. I should know how the character feels because I've learned to like the character. I don't know, I don't know if I'm like even describing it correctly, but it was just so like beating me over the head with the writing style that like I couldn't get into it, and like I just DNF'd. I was like, no, I can't with you. So I really wanted to like this one. It's a heist story, crew of misfits, and I was like, you had me at crew of misfits, thank you. And it's just bad. I didn't like it, I DNF'd. I also had to put Not the Girl You Marry by Andie J. Christopher on the list because the plot just baffles me, frankly. This is Jack and Hannah. They are both kind of bad at dating, and they both have different careers. Like, Jack is in, like, he's a journalist, and he basically writes like BuzzFeed listicles kind of thing. That's what he's been writing, but he wants to write something like really good in an article. And then you have Hannah. She's like an event planner and she's trying to like get a promotion in the company, like move on to weddings, that's where the money is. And then they meet and then they kind of like each other. And then what happens is a how to lose a guy in 10 days clusterfuck. It just goes downhill because the plot makes no sense. Basically, both their bosses would be out of business from the amount of lawsuits they'd be getting because what they're doing is entirely illegal. Jack's boss keeps telling him like, oh, you know, you should write this article where you date a girl and you figure out all the bad things guys do to girls when they're dating to make them like dump them. You should go do that. I'm forcing you to date somebody. Hello, I'm your boss. Like, what? They can't do that. And then, like, Hannah has the same situation with her boss, who's, like, saying, hey, you know, you've never really had, like, a decent relationship, so I can't, like, put you in charge of weddings, because for some reason that matters. So she's like, unless you get, like, a serious relationship, like, you're not gonna go on to weddings. Which, again, completely illegal. So, right from the get-go, the premise of this book is just stupid. And then both of them are, like, doing these things with each other to get these jobs that they want, Hannah just keeps staying with this guy even though he's doing crazy stuff because she's like, I need to be in a relationship so I get a job. And then Jack is trying to do all these crazy things so he can write the article. And Jack is always like so conflicted. He's like, oh, I hate that I'm lying to Hannah. And here's where it goes completely wrong, and I had it, like, it was laughable at this point, because it's like, Jack, you are a writer. Are you aware that fiction exists? Like, you could just lie in your article. You don't have to lie to this girl at all. I'm like, I don't understand why you're doing it. You can just lie to your boss. He's a dummy anyway. Like, I don't get it. It's baffling. What the fuck? Like, the premise makes no fucking sense, and it just drives me crazy. Like, how did these people get this far in life being that dumb? Like, I don't know how they did it, because it's astounding. And I couldn't get into it because it was just baffling. It makes so little sense, and it's a rom-com, and it making little sense as a rom-com is saying something. Like, oh boy, it's a hot mess. I also was really disappointed in A Madness of Sunshine by Nalini Singh. I have read a lot of books by Nalini Singh, different genres, completely different than this one, that I have enjoyed. I've read like her romance stuff, her contemporary, and her paranormal, like I've read all that. This is adult thriller murder mystery. New genre. So I was going in, I'm like, oh, okay, like, I like Nalini Singh. She has like a sense for drama. Okay, like, let's see what this is gonna be like. It's a murder mystery in New Zealand. Okay, I'm interested. And what follows is a book so dull. I fell asleep multiple times. Like, I couldn't stay awake, it was that dull. It's so dull. Like, this is a murder mystery. People got murdered. and I fell asleep because I didn't care about any of these characters. Like, no one, you're not getting to know any of these characters, not even the lead character. I barely know who this lady is, and she's the protagonist. And I was like, what? Who are you? And it doesn't get better from there. And it just, like, I read like 60% of this book, and like nothing had happened. They're just all walking around looking at stuff. There's no clues. There's no like concrete like suspects. They're just going, wonder where this girl went. And it's like, oh no, no, no. I just gave up at that point. I kind of skim read the rest. The person who I thought that was the killer ended up being the killer. So I was like, well, that wasn't even surprising. I mean, it is a good twist, but it is formulaic for thrillers. There is a formula for thriller for picking a killer, and if you go with that, 9 out of 10 times you were right. So I was like, oh, that's the killer. Oh, what's a killer? So, yeah, it was formulaic and boring. It was so boring. Oh my word. Like, I couldn't with it. It was so dull. Like, painfully dull. Ah! Okay, well, guess who just flailed out of rage and got wine all over their books? If you guessed me, you're right. So that's a fun evening. Like I said, I am discombobulated. I just spilled wine over like a lot of books. This wine could be in my body, now it's on books I don't even like. Next up on my list, I have Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is like my controversial pick because I do realize I have the very unpopular opinion. Almost everyone I have talked to who's read this book has very much enjoyed it. So I went in going, it's gonna be a 5-star read. Everyone likes this book. And I was like, oh no, it's not a book for me. I just retitled the book in my brain to Grow the Fuck Up, Chloe Brown. I could not get into this. I didn't like the characters. I thought they were just juvenile. I was like, these characters are so mature. Is this why? Oh, nope. Nope, he has his hands in interesting places in public, so it's definitely an adult book, and I just was very confused on the tone. I mean, it has a cool premise, though. We're following Chloe and this guy named Red, and Chloe Brown, she is a grown-ass adult who is dealing with a chronic pain disorder. I'm not really sure what you call it, but she has a chronic pain issue. And so that's like an interesting character and something to go into and see how chronic pain affects her life and her romance and how, oh, I fell in love. It doesn't make my pain go away though. I still have chronic pain. So it has things that are interesting and maybe even good, I would say. But The characters were just crappy for me. I didn't like them. Like, if I met these people at a party, like, I don't want to fucking hang out with them. Like, I would make my excuses and go somewhere else. Like, I don't think I'd like either of these people. They're just both very immature, and I just, grow the fuck up, Chloe Brown, was how I felt about the book. I really wanted to like it. It does have like a lot of cool concepts it could have played with. And of course, I am the very unpopular opinion. So many people love this book. So again, I know. I wish I liked this book too. But you can't have everything. And yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I know. No one's more disappointed than myself. Guess you got so much wine on other books. It's me. Next up, I have The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. And this is one of those books that I was like, this is gonna be 5 stars. Like, I'm going in and I had expectations. So many of my friends had read it and really enjoyed it. I saw it all over Bookstagram. I was like, yes, give me this epic fantasy. It features orcs, like demons and gods that are creepy, heists, like villainous kind of shady characters. I was like, this is just made of things I like. And somehow all of these things combined into a book I didn't like. I don't know why. Again, I think I have an unpopular opinion. I think overall this book has gotten pretty positive reviews. And for me though, I just found it incredibly dull with a great concept. We are primarily following this woman. Her name is Kasorwe. She's an orc. I was like, okay, orc main character, into it. And the thing with Kasorwe is that she was raised to be like a sacrifice to this death god. And she's like a kind of a nun until that point. And then she has to go get sacrificed to the god. And then this wizard shows up and he's like, hey, Kasorwe, listen, like you could do that, or you can come with me and learn cool magic stuff. And she's like, well, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go with you, homie. And then she does. However, you know, I assume it comes into play more later that this god was like very upset he didn't get his orc treat that day. So I don't know. And then the book is told like in different parts, like part 1, part 2, part 3. And I thought all of part 1 should have been the book. It should have just ended where book 1 or part 1 of this ended. And then I'm like, wow, that was good. There's more? How is there more? And then it just goes off into another story. And I'm like, why is this in the same book? Like, how is this continuing the plot? It doesn't. It's like a completely new story. This should have been a new book. So instead of having like one part of this book that I really did enjoy, expanded and going in deeper with these characters and really getting to know them and like having more action adventure and like crazy stuff, they like condensed it a lot and then put in other like story arcs that should have been other books. So there was too much going on and not enough going on at the same time. However, cool concepts. I love the concept. The cover is really cool. And I'm so disappointed. I really wanted to like this. And I was so bored. And now it's covered in wine. My last wine-soaked book on this list is By Force Alone by Lavie Tidhar. This is another one of those books that I was so hyped for. Like, I first heard about this book at the very beginning of 2020, long before it came out. And I was like, shit, that looks so good. And like, I pre-ordered it because I'm like, yes, how could they go wrong? And they found ways to. And I think it's mainly just about the writing style. For me, it doesn't work. I don't like it. There's so few adjectives in the whole book that it's alarming. There's like no adjectives. You could read entire pages and not a single adjective on the page, and you're just like, why? What? Tell me about the things. The idea here is that it's a King Arthur retelling type of story, except like Guy Ritchie style. And I know Guy Ritchie did do a King Arthur movie that, you know what? I'm just gonna say it, underrated. I actually really liked it. I think it's good. I don't care if it's a bad movie or not. I liked it. I think it's good. I had that in mind. I'm going into this. I'm thinking, ooh, I'm going to get that Guy Ritchie King Arthur stuff I like. And I didn't. And I was upset because I just kept turning the page. And like, I had to keep like psyching myself up to read this book. Like I would read it for a day and then I'd have a palate cleanser book the next day I read. And then I'd go back to it. Like I couldn't even read it day after day without wanting to like just chuck this book out the window. So like I had to like pace myself with it and have a palate cleanser book during it just to get through the thing. And it was just struggle bus for me to read. I just don't like the writing style. Like it has its moments where I'm like, that's kind of cool, but overall it's just, I don't like the structure. I don't like how it's written. I don't like the prose, the flow, what have you. It doesn't work. The best way I can describe it is to say, if Kurt Vonnegut was writing Joe Abercrombie books, which like sounds cool on first glance. You're like, oh, okay, like I'd be into that. And then you read it and you're like, oh no, those don't work. Like those two writing styles do not work together. The source material does not work together. It shouldn't go together. Like this isn't a peanut butter and chocolate situation. This is a peanut butter and tuna fish situation. Like they're two different things and they should remain so. I think really your enjoyment of this book is going to depend on whether or not you can get into the writing style. Because frankly, shit goes off the rails here. Like there's crazy stuff going on here that has nothing to do with King Arthur in there. Like, I'll just say it, there's aliens at one point. Why are there aliens? This is King Arthur time and there's aliens and you're like, wait, what? So yeah, it goes a lot of places that are just bizarre. And I mean, you know, if I was really rooting for these characters and I got into the writing style, maybe I could have gone those bizarre places too and be like, all right, fine, whatever, this is crazy. But like, I was so upset anyway that I was like, there's goddamn aliens? And I just like, oh no, like I wouldn't have finished it, but it was a book of the month for the book club, so I had to, and I didn't like it. It makes me really sad because I pre-ordered this. I was like so pumped about it and it was just disappointing. Okay. So that's my list of my least favorite books of 2020. Like, I don't know, I feel like I just bitched about books for too long, and I'm all like, my blood pressure's high, I spilled my wine from a rage flail, it's all over my books, like there's just wine everywhere, and not enough in my body. I am just like out of it. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? I know I have some unpopular opinions on these books, but hey, what were some of your least favorites? Are they some of mine or something completely different? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.